I am Chris Giarusso, and you're watching Invest Comics TV.
Right now. All right, we're back here on Invest Comics TV, visiting with Jaymes Reed and Darren Davis, and I had to interrupt Darren to go to break. So, Darren, why don't you continue what you were saying?
So we were talking about, like, the comics line, about the comedians, and we were thinking, like, we were talking about who we're going to do and all this other stuff. Who would you want to see done? If you had your choice, and we won't divulge, but who would you want to see?
Me personally?
You personally, yeah.
Obviously Red Skelton, because he's my neighbor, or was my neighbor, kind of.
Did you get any paintings from him?
I'm sorry?
Did you get any of the paintings from him?
No, but I do have his
paintings?
autographed picture around here someplace, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool.
Now, he grew up in Vincennes, Indiana, which is only about 20 miles from me, so I knew about Red. Actually, met him one time. Great guy. He was already in his 70s at that time, so he wasn't doing his physical pratfall type slapstick humor, but he was still a funny man doing stand-up. So does that answer your question? Who'd be my first choice?
Yes, and let's consider that a maybe then.
Okay.
You never know.
He's on my list. It's possible. He's not on my top, but he's in my. I've got a DVD set of Red Skelton stuff. I mean, he's funny. I mean, I like the old black and white. Anybody that's funny in black and white, I'll watch them. And if they're real funny, I'll watch them more than twice. So
there you go.
I love the older stuff. Just love it. Any classic stuff, I love it.
Personally, who I want to see done, and I honestly don't know if this is on James' list, Dick Van Dyke. Yes. My favorite TV show ever is a Dick Van Dyke show.
Good candidate.
I have an idea for that I need to discuss with you, but we'll hold that for email. But I have an idea for that one. We'll slide that one in a little while.
All right.
So you have a meeting while you're here, Rick.
Okay.
It's just like a conference call meeting.
No, the list is pretty much endless, and by the time you get caught up even partway in your list, there'll be some new comedians emerging who will have your attention, and you'll have some really really tough decisions.
Yeah, well, as they go along, sure. I mean, it's going to be, I've got our list now. It's pretty long, but like I say, if we can bump it monthly, we can do more if there's a demand, we'll see what happens.
And there's some people that, we have to make sure that, we're not, he's working on some, and then we have the Fame series, and then we have Female Force. So I also have to make sure, I ended up pulling Kathy Griffin off his schedule, but, because we were doing it for Female Force, but making sure he was doing another strong, independent woman that has made a difference in comedian land. So, we pick and choose our battles, and I want to make sure that he gets who he wants to do as well.
Well, speaking of battles, there's one comedian that could actually, he's already in the middle of his own personal controversy, so.
Who's that? Is that Charlie?
Yeah, that would be Charlie, so we'll see what happens with that.
We're doing a comic book on it. It's insane. The true honest to God story about this is, I wasn't planning on doing anything like this. And Diamond Comics, after Charlie went through all his rants and stuff, Diamond Comics ended up, calling us and saying, hey, can you do a Charlie Sheen comic? We really want you to do one. We want you to do one. And so, if my distributor's asking me to do one, I'm going to do something. So that's why we decided to do it. Honestly, I wish I could take the credit for it, but for that one, it's not. And it's gotten so much press, and we've gotten so much flack over it and stuff. So
an issue of Fame?
No, it's actually called Infamous. It's a new one that's coming out. So.
Oh, biography series called Infamous.
Yeah, so it's another.
Oh, I know a good one. Lindsay Lohan would be good for that one.
Yeah.
You never know. We might be working on that one too.
Well,
a lot of those.
New name, but anyway, we digress quite a bit here. But the comic, the comic's title is intriguing in and of itself, and of course it's also, some people would view it as self-serving. I don't. It just happens to fit very well. It's a comic book, a biographical comic book about stand-up comics and sitcoms and whatnot. But the idea is not to be funny. It's to tell about funny people. Which I think
It's to tell their lives. It's to tell their impact that they've made in the comedian world. You know, one of my favorite things is to watch the Biography channel and all the behind the scenes of, like, when they do stuff on, you know, God, MASH, or, you know, I can't even think of, like Cheers or something like that, and just to really get to know the back information of it for the series. And so this is kind of like that as well. You know, it is like with the Biography channel of the comic book world.
Yeah.
So sure. With George Carlin or any of the other ones that we're doing, yeah, definitely we want the fans to be really happy with it, but we also want to tell their stories in a way that's also for a different demographic. That's, you know, you're never going to see another illustrated version of, you know, George Carlin, his life. So
right. The other thing that comes up is, because you mentioned the Biography channel, in a lot of cases, if the Biography channel is aware of someone important, whether political, celebrity, you know, whatever, they'll have the biography in the can waiting for some event to happen where that person is elevated into the news, for whatever reason, whether they're, you know, doing something stupid or whether they die or something. If they're in the news, it's opportune.
Right.
And although some of that is possible with this, I don't think that's really where you're going.
No, I mean, we announced that we were doing a Ted Kennedy comic the day before he died, and we didn't know he was going to die, and we have to solicit these things 4 months in advance. So there's
really got that sometime.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do these so where they're newsworthy. You know, like the Charlie Sheen thing, hopefully when the book comes out in July, you know, he's still going to be doing what he's doing, or there'll be some resolution or something. But because these are illustrated, it's really hard. You know, we're not doing a Liz Taylor one, even though we've been asked to do one. We did Michael Jackson, you know, right as 4 months after he died. So it gets really hard because, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I could add that as far as this series goes, though, from the other series, I mean, George Carlin, he died in June 2008, and that's the 3-year anniversary of it in June. But I certainly didn't know it was coming out in June, so it wasn't like I was celebrating anything. You know, if I was going to do that, then, you know, I would have picked a better month. But, you know, that's the way it fell. Now, the second issue is going to have some significance as far as August when it, you know, but that's not going to be, you know, every issue. I don't gear these towards any particular news or anything, because from the offset, we decided to do mostly classic comics at first, and most of those guys have already passed. Yeah. So we're not going to get much news out of them.
Let's take a little break, and I'm going to pry out of you some of your top tier types of people. We'll be right back.
Greetings, Earthlings. I am for the planet Zordon. Watch my friends, Dennis, Crenshaw, and Rick Osman, on Unraveling the Secrets, right here on the Soup Media Network each Saturday at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, and each Sunday, at noon Eastern. They will bring you interesting guests and information from all over, above, or inside your pathetic little planet. Oh my. I've misplaced my tinfoil derby.
Okay, we're back here on Invest Comics TV, and again, I had to interrupt the stuff to go to break. Jaymes was telling us, or he was about to tell us some stuff about what's coming up, even though I might have to pry some of it out of him.
Well, we like to do press releases for most, you know, for all the books, really. Darren, I know, does press releases for the Fame books and everything, so as far as comics go, though, I mean, I'm not going to name any exact what comes next issues or anything. You know, George Carlin's going to be the first issue. We're going to go bi-monthly from there, and beyond that, I mean, you run the gamut on who's more popular. I mean, of course, when I was constructing my list, I tried to mix it up between, you know, males, females, Americans, non-Americans, in other words, you know, maybe minorities. groups. I mean, a sitcom. You could do a book on a whole TV show where, you know, everybody on the show went on to do bigger things. You know, I mean, there's so much. I mean, I've got in mind.
Saturday Night Live comes to mind. But
yeah.
Right. And, you know, and so with all that, of course, comes more work because those group books take a lot more time. I can tell you now. And so I am willing to talk to other people that are willing to, you know, that are interested in, you know, putting out a book. It's, you know, willing to talk about it. That's fine. I've already got Chad Lambert lined up to write 3 issues in the future. He's worked at Ape Entertainment and some others. He did a biopic kind of sci-fi telling of the Mothman. He did 2 or 3 books on that, and it was really good. So I know he's capable, and he's an old friend of mine too. So, you know, and at the time when I was taking on people, I was just looking for partners, friends. Hey, let's do this together, you know, because this is hard work, and I didn't want to rush anything. And so, you know, it's been a close-knit deal for the past several months, getting it to where we are now. And so there's a whole line of people, though. I mean, you could do. I mean, I'm mostly doing right off people that I admire, whom I admire. Everyone that you know, the top few books are basically my heroes. You know, Darren approved every one of them, and you know.
And the reason I approved him. And the main reason I approve him is because of his passion for it. You know, I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not forcing somebody down his throat that he doesn't want to do, you know, but I also want him to, you know, open up and just, you know, get to know other people that he not necessarily did. You know, one of the main things for us, like with the political power thing, is that I learned so much about the political world from doing people like, you know, Ted Kennedy or, you know, even Sarah Palin for, you know, for that, for doing people that. Yeah, and I'm not saying that, you know, I gained a respect for these people, but I've also opened my eyes to new different things. And so hopefully with this, you know, he'll maybe do somebody that he wouldn't even think of and then learn, and then, you know, it's just like anything. So. Yeah,
and having an old fart kind of throwing things in there like that. I meant me, myself, actually. Throwing stuff in there for people that, you know, really funny people that you young guys never heard of, so.
Trust me, I know them. Yeah, my obsession is old TV on DVD, and right now I think I just finished watching Leave It to Beaver. We do a lot with Shout Factory now, so, you know, I'm getting to see Father Knows Best, and, you know, like the old Lucy shows and all that stuff. So
I'm down south. I'm watching Andy Griffith right now, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's just nip it. Yeah, I mean, early ones too, like season 2, so that's when it was really good, you know. Yeah. So
is that?
You know, I do watch.
Where you're going with some of this? Is it?
It's endless. I want to go to issue number 100. That's what I want to do. I want to keep going. I want to do as many of them as people want to hear about. I mean, I'm open. Like I say, I'm not going to do them all by myself. The first few issues I am writing, I'm lettering all of them. Various artists are going to be on board. First, George Carlin issues, illustrated by Indonesian artist who's become a real good friend of mine. His name is, I'll show you a picture of him. Actually, his name is Apriyadi Kuzbiantoro. And he's, I don't know if you can see that too well, but that's him in front of his George Carlin painting when he was putting it together.
Way cool.
He sent it to me on a mobile phone. Cool. Yeah, and he's a good friend of mine now, and he's waiting on a script right now, as a matter of fact. So he's twiddling his thumbs at the moment, waiting on me. But I've got so many things going on that. It's been a slow start, but we're getting it rolling. And, you know, and I got Drucio Carbajal also doing some artwork on an upcoming issue, and he does a lot of the covers. So, I mean, we're wide open right now.
And the best thing for me about these is I don't have to deal with them. My plate is so full. You know,
I didn't mention this is my series. This is my baby. Darren does all the other ones, but this one's comics is all mine. I've taken on the chore of handling the art and getting everybody together for it. And if he wants to.
See, my background, I used to work at E! Entertainment Television, so I understand the power of celebrity and, you know, the Fame series and all that stuff. And that, you know, when I was a kid, I used to read Teen Beat magazine, so that's where I really love and got my passion for doing these celebrities, where Jaymes is more on the comic side and knows all about the comedians. So I'm also
because I had a rough life and I needed to laugh a lot. I had to laugh all the time.
Is when you're ready to do a comic book series about, you know, radio announcers and interview hosts, just let me know. But
hey, I've got radio guys on the list. I mean, that's where the first mainstream comedy came from, was the radio.
Right.
You know, where TV
Absolutely.
came from. I mean, we're going to be doing. I know a lot of the first issues. Some of these people worked in radio, and so you'll see a lot of that. So there'll be a lot of that going on.
Okay.
But the most important thing about this series is that it is dedicated to his mom.
There you go.
To Jaymes' mom.
Well, particularly the second issue, we did totally for her. That's she stars in it as a little girl. I won't say who it is, the subject, but my mom stars in the second issue as a little girl. And the artist did the artist did a great job on it.
I won't let it out. All I can say is I love it.
It's probably going to be more popular than the first issue to the masses, but George Carlin personally is my favorite. The second issue was my mom's favorite, and we'll put it there, and that's,
Cool.
How I went with it. But yeah, I've laughed a lot, and it's helped.
We need to wrap this one up, guys. I appreciate you being on Invest Comics TV.
Thank you.
Doing a 2-for-1 tonight. It'll actually spread out over a couple of 2 weeks, probably, but we'll see.
That's fine.
Anyway, congratulations on the new series, and I'll certainly look forward to it in print as opposed to the digital stuff I've seen so far. We'll see you all later.
I look forward to showing it to you.
Thanks everybody for watching Invest Comics TV.